Need to be impacting the board. Taking a turn off is a big deal. There's a tab in the donation queue that says no fly. How many lands are in this deck? 23. This is probably a mulligan. Yeah, we just don't have enough cantrips in the deck to keep a one-lander with one cantrip. Quality low variance game. Oh, God. MTGO is just like, Hogland, you've played too much fucking Magic. You need to take a break. You need to take a break, Hogland. Why are you back again? You just played a bunch of Magic. Go do something else with your life. Fuck. Alright, think I'm bottoming that, I guess. Scalding Tarn, go. Alright, that tells me all I need to know. Let's board in our K returns and our removal here. I guess this is a little awkward. I think I'm boarding an Equity. So when we played my, yeah, I probably shouldn't have even played a land. You're correct. When we played my configuration, like the blue-red, we played my blue-red Delver Fae deck the other day. One of the things I talked about was that I had a real plan for the decks that are common in the format, like humans, and like this deck's a good example of like this deck is not well constructed with humans in mind, because like I'm boarding in I'm leaving Cryptic Commands in my deck, and I'm boarding in a Keranos, and I'm boarding in Chandras, like, and I'm bringing in extra Blood Moons. Like, these are not cards that are good against humans, but they're like, I don't have cohesive sideboard cards other than these to bring in this matchup. Maybe I'm supposed to board in Pithing Needle just to like tag Aether Vial. Honestly, maybe Pithing Needle to tag Aether Vial seems fine. Yeah, I could turn off Canopy too, I guess. Like, I guess if I'm on the Blood Moon plan, that's probably okay. Like, a lot of these cards I'm bringing in are not good. Hey, the 11 months from J Muscleman. Thank you very much, and welcome back. I mean, just like, Keranos is not a good card to bring into this matchup. It's very expensive. It doesn't impact the board. It's not, so Pie Guy, what you just said there, so I want to take a moment because I think this is a very educational moment. So what Pie Guy just said is they said, I feel like every single deck should have at least 5 to 6 sideboard answers to humans, otherwise it isn't a good deck. So that's not how you approach deck building. That is a bad way to approach deck building. The number of cards you want in your sideboard in a specific deck, you shouldn't build your deck and go, oh, I want 5 cards to beat humans because that's how many cards you need to beat humans. The number of cards in your sideboard that you need to bring in against specific decks in the format like humans depends on how many cards in your main deck are bad against humans. So well-constructed decks with well-designed sideboards and well-built 75s, you want your sideboarding to be smooth and easy. You want it to be, oh, I have 4, 5, 6, 8 cards in this matchup that are bad, and I want that same number of cards to board in from my sideboard that are good. So if you're ever struggling with like what you're supposed to bring in and what you're supposed to bring out in a given deck in a given matchup, that's generally a sign that your deck's not well built, because well-built decks are going to have easy ins and easy outs for the matchups where these cards are bad and I get to replace them with these cards that are better and actively good. So you shouldn't say, oh, I need X cards to beat this matchup. It should be, oh, I look at this deck. So like, let's look at this deck, for example. So this deck, I look at this main deck and I go, I don't want my counter spells against humans. So that gives me, I have 8 cards here. Honestly, I'm not even a huge fan of Blood Moon or Cryptic Command against humans. So this deck, at a minimum, I want like 8 cards to bring in out of the sideboard against humans. And if I look at the sideboard, I really don't have 8 cards to bring in. So again, that's how you want to approach deck construction and sideboarding. You want to be thinking through your matchups, what you want to cut in those matchups, and then bringing in an appropriate amount of cards based on how many you're cutting. Yeah, that's true too, said Mephisto. If you're giving up on a matchup like my mid-range deck against Tron, that's appropriate. But again, like for a deck like humans or hollowed ones, you probably shouldn't be playing decks in modern that go, at least in the current format, that go, oh, I'm never beating humans or hollowed when I'm writing those matches off. Like that's a bad plan. Oh god, there's Spell Snares in this deck too. Yeah, Spell Snare should come out too. So like the floor on cards as this main deck is constructed, there should be 10 cards to bring it out of your sideboard for against humans. So yeah, 10 cards. Which is a lot of cards. So the way this main deck is constructed, you need to have a lot of cards to bring in. Yeah, and I think it's just like, it's one of those things, if you've never heard it explained to you in the way I just explained it, that it's very easy to not think about it that way. I think it's very common for new players to just go, oh, I want to beat this matchup, so I should have 6 cards for this matchup or 7 cards for this matchup or whatever. When in reality, that's not a really intelligent way to approach deck building like that. I didn't say anti-human sideboard cards. So I said you want 10 cards that are better than counter spells to bring in. So you don't put 10 cards in your sideboard that are only good against humans. In fact, boarding cards that are specific for singular matchups isn't a good way to approach sideboarding either. Modern's a format where you have lots of different matchups to play for. So like a good example is you could put copies of cards like a Braid in your sideboard. A Braid is much better than a counterspell against a deck like humans, but it also has application against decks like Lantern Control for killing ensnaring bridges, and decks like Affinity for killing cranial platings. You want where you're playing a combo deck where your sideboard is presumably good. So that's not, combo decks are exactly the same. You're going to have a specific subset of cards in your deck that are bad in a given matchup, and you want to replace those cards with cards that are good, generally speaking. I don't think that's necessarily true, Rick. So like Modern is a format where there are lots of decks that are competitive at any given time. So like having some medium cards in your main deck against humans game 1, like I don't think that strictly means your deck is like unplayable or anything like that. Yes. Yeah, you shouldn't in fact, boarding overly specific hate cards is generally bad in Modern because there's just so many decks in the format. No, I don't think that really counts as a rant. A rant is like me yelling and screaming about people being stupid, whereas I felt like that was just like an educational moment. I don't think Snare is acceptable. I think between Cavern and Vial, they're often going to have one or the other. It's very unlikely to be reasonable. Honestly, I would leave in Remand before I would leave in Spell Snare, because Remand at least draws a card. That being said, I'm probably going to clip that and tag it as ranting for consistency's sake, so I guess for bingo you can count it. I don't think the Thalia duo really murders our deck. In fact, like, our deck has a bunch of basic lands in it. We're actually not that bad off in this current board state. This Spellskite is just like doing the Lord's work. Is just like this 04. God bless you, 04. We would really like an anger. You are not wrong. I think I want to Skred her. And then play the Scalding Tarn out. Moto is running slow as molasses already. Some of this must be server-side lag, because I swear it feels random. Because we just loaded up. Duggernaut with the 6-month resubscription. Thank you very much and welcome back. I appreciate that. Thank you for the continued support. Yeah, me too, Mephisto. Just like, you used to be a modern staple, little guy. What happened to you? I'm feeling okay. I'm not at 100%, but I didn't want to destroy my sleep schedule, so here I am. They have another Thalia's Lieutenant. We're going to be very dead here. Yeah. Yep, because this is going to get up to a 4-4 here, which means it's just out of range of all of our stuff. I guess Skred still kills it. Yeah, like I said, the way this deck is constructed, it's not well built for the humans matchup. Just like the number of cards you have to bring in and bring out does not line up well. Yeah, no joke. The lag's been more noticeable since Vintage Cube went live. I hope we're not playing against humans again, but I'm pretty sure this hand's a keep. It depends on what you're comboing with. So Spellskite breaks up Kiki plus Pestermite, but it doesn't break up Kiki plus Resto or Kiki plus Deceiver X Arc. It's actually not even using that much RAM, so this must be server side lag. We're only at 1.3 gigs of memory. Yeah, it's why cards like Collective Brutality and cards, oh lordy, lordy. Dangers of playing a control deck, chat. You're gonna die to Bill. We almost 5-0'd when we played Blue Blackmail on stream last week. I fucked up the 5th match. We're 4-0. The deck seems really reasonable if it's well built. The classic Thought Scour you. Yep. Jace's Phantasm. I have to mana leak that one. Yep. Oh God, why do we keep getting dumpstered? Why do we keep getting dumpstered? Oh. I did sleep. I took like a 6-hour nap. I guess I'm keeping this. Our win condition in this deck is attacking with 4/3 birds. If you mulligan, they have another card to mill. Do you remember last night when you said my mono blue ride from the Tides deck in Modern? Nope. I'm pretty sure I told you I had to see a deck list. I do remember that, and I'm pretty sure I told you you had to wait. Samuel Jackson, with that 4-month resubscription, thank you very much and welcome back. I appreciate it. What's going on, Little Lick? I have children. I'm used to functioning on very little sleep. So, the gimmicky thing this deck's supposed to be doing is being able to bolt the Swans and Skred our Swans to draw a bunch of cards. Unfortunately, drawing a bunch of cards against our opponent's mill deck is not ideal, so our deck basically just doesn't really do its thing in this matchup. It's kind of unfortunate. So I'm going to crack this fetch land here and just, like, go get a thing. And the reason why I'm doing this aggressively like this is because this way if my opponent has a trap, I get to soft stub it this turn. Don't play a third one. Don't play a third one. Alright, here's hoping my 4-power, 4-mana card goes the distance. You're my only hope, Swans. Go, fight the mill menace. Our people need you, Swans. Our people need you. If we're gonna win this game, it involves attacking with this big, beautiful bird 5 times. Just get in there. Show them what you're made of, Swans. Get them. Get them. Dream Twist. Yep. Oh, yeah. Give me a snare target, baby. Give me a snare target, baby. Twist and shout, twist and shout. Come on, come on, come on, come on, baby. Now come on, baby. And work it on out. Work it on out. Ooh. Oh, baby. They have nothing. They've got nothing, chat. Ain't got nothing for nobody. We could Skred our Swans and draw 5 cards if we wanted, chat. Don't we want to Skred our Swans and draw some cards? Card's an instant. That's so OP. That's so, yeah, let's draw 5 against Bill, right? I don't dislike Magic in general. I just, you know, see some of the decks that people submit. I realize a few games in with them that, like, these decks are far less interesting and far weaker against some decks in the format than I was expecting them at a glance. So, games like Magic are very... Yeah! Squad... They paid fucking health for the surgical instead of black mana and then died. God bless you, opponent. God bless you. I feel like I'm supposed to board in Spellskite to protect my birds. We're gonna board in Spellskite to protect my birds, chat. My birds need protection. Protection from the big evil mill. Yeah, Spell Snare's okay. It's one of those cards where it's like a 2 or a 10. For sure. Chandra's a clock? I guess that's fair. Chandra kills them. Maybe that's like an appropriate thing. I'm gonna bottom that. I'm looking for a land. Maybe Land of the Void. Joke's on you, opponent. I want the Snapcaster Mage as a 2-1 anyways. Again, I'm fetch shocking right now, so that way if they have an archive trap, I get to soft stub it. Boarding up cards is generally wrong. Like, it throws off. You're more likely to screw on lands if you board up cards. Looking for some lands here. I hope they draw all their surgical extractions. Twist and shout, twist and shout. Come on, come on, come on, come on, baby. Now come on. God, I'm gonna be greedy and keep that. I think that's one of our better cards here. And just like getting a 3 power clock into play is a big deal. Remember when someone in chat suggested we bring in Blood Moon? God bless you, chat. God bless you. I know you mean well, chat. Two, 1. I choose you. We were playing a Naked Snap regardless, because there's a Leyline of the Void here. We need to kill our opponent. We are the beatdown in this matchup. Our beatdown isn't particularly impressive, but we are definitely the beatdown. Again, role assessment is important. I don't mean well, I choose to pay, so it doesn't matter too much. God bless. At least you're honest. Well, that's really unfortunate for us, because that card's gonna mill a bunch, and I don't... Holy dicks. That is... Oh, they don't have lands. Lands or removal would be great. Fuck! I didn't fetch another... snowland, chat. I didn't fetch another snowland. Remember when chat wanted to board up to like 75 cards here too? We're already having mana troubles. Don't do it. It's a trap to board up in matches like this. Yep. God bless. Yeah, maybe I should play out. I think I need to hold up Dispel now, though. Since I fetched this turn. No, this doesn't target a creature. So you can target anything you want with the Spellskite activation, but it only has an impact if it's something that could target Spellskite anyways. God, that's just some good deck building right there. Your cantrip resolves. I almost soft stubbed that, but that was literally just a 1 mana draw 1, so. Like, Leyline of the Void's like fine in mill. There's decks that you don't want to fill their graveyard up. Please have the post-stub Land of Shame. Please have the post-stub Land of Shame. Please have the post-stub Land of Shame. We are going to draw step the crap out of this Vendilion Clique. Or am I supposed to click myself? Maybe I'm supposed to click myself here. Yeah, I'm actually going to click myself. Yeah, I have a clock. I need disruption. And I don't think the problem with clicking them is that, like, even their lands are cards I care about at the moment. Like, with this Hedron Crab, like, their lands are meaningful cards. So, like, I need to just, like, find counterspells and removal here, I think. There better be a land in my deck. God bless. It is a boot. It is a boot because you're one of the hardworking people of Hooglandia, making the kingdom what it is today. Alright, Mana Leak plus Cryptic Command might be enough to get us here. Yep, yeah, we have a whole new suite of Hooglandia themed subbed icons. If you're on the desktop and you click on the boot, you'll be able to see all of the icons. I think we're actually gonna pull this one out here. We're not a lock by any means just yet, but like feeling pretty safe behind this Cryptic Command. Yeah, this chump block is great for us too. Like they're still dead on board here. Sweet. Okay, yep. I think that was a good example. The actual answer, like, how was it, is that, like, you should watch the video. And if you don't have time to watch the video, you should cut to the end where I do the wrap up and the summary. The last 5 minutes of every video or so are summary on the decks. I think that chat was right that I should have brought in the Chandras there, but we ended up pressuring them accordingly. Again, like, the turn 2 Snapcaster Mage, just, like, identifying that our role as the beatdown was important there. Yeah, ambush Viper into Clique. Like, Clique is one of the better cards in the format right now. Like I said, like, one of the reasons why I really like the Fairies decks that I've been poking at, especially for the upcoming Indianapolis Open potentially, is that I think like 3 power flying creatures like in a really good spot. Actually, I'm gonna stand up. I sat a bunch last night. I need to take this stupid green screen down. I keep bumping into the pole when I back my chair up. Oh, Ascent seems fine, especially on the play. Seems very reasonable on the play. Broken clocks, right, twice a day and all that. We are 1-1 in this league currently. We lost the first match to humans. This deck is not well constructed against humans, to board well against humans. Drop me some steam vents past the turn here. I think Chandra is better in the context of Modern. I just watched your mono red cube. I can't believe how much red you were fed. We were definitely the only one in red by the end of that cube. You were not wrong. We had a lot of mountains coming our way. I think I'm actually going to Izzet Charm this rather than Mana Leak, because Mana Leak can counter like Tireless Tracker, Courser of Crufix, and Bloodbraid Elf and stuff like that. All those pesky non-creature spells. Yeah, I think that's pretty narrow, Rog. I think that's pretty narrow overall. Do I care about a Blood Moon? I kind of do. Like, if they have land destruction, it's going to be pretty annoying. I'm going to start with this opt. If we opt into another basic island, I'm going to let the Blood Moon resolve. But if we don't, I'm going to Mana Leak. I'm going to go ahead and just Mana Leak this. That way I can cast my Cryptic Command. If I didn't already have Cryptic, I might just let the Blood Moon go. But the fact that I have Cryptic in my hand makes the Blood Moon extra annoying. How much for a sword? You get swords when you hit 12 months here in Hoaglandia. You get a training sword as a sub icon when you hit 6 months subscribed. The providers of the realm get swords as well. The people on the board listed as providers of the realm get swords early. Yeah, so do I want to counter draw or do I want to counterbounce their forest? So, while counterbounce the forest like sounds appealing from a get them aspect, my hand's not really doing anything. So like, I feel like I'm just supposed to counter draw because like my hand needs more action in it. I feel like counterbounce the forest is just like being too cheeky. I could remand and bolt the elf. That's an interesting idea. I don't hate that either. They're Hoaglandia themed sub icons, Kinklebiter. Okay, so that actually makes me want to just let this resolve. And then I can Anger of the Gods next turn and kill both of these. They hit a land here, so they got to draw a card out of it, but I think this is ideal. If you look under the stream information, it's the bit leaderboard. Running a little bit low on health here, but we've got Remand, Cryptic, and then these bolts, so hopefully this can help us stabilize. If they have, like, exactly another Bloodbraid Elf this turn, we could be in trouble, because that's a card that Remand can't tempo. But if Sans a Bloodbraid Elf, we should be in a pretty good spot here. We 2-1 the cube draft. We lost to someone who had lots of power in their deck, and we had only one piece of power. I ended up doing about 22 hours. Yeah, I'm just gonna remand that. Enjoy. Buck Choi with the 5-month resubscription. Thank you very much and welcome back. I appreciate it. Thanks for the continued support. Thanks for keeping me employed. Bolt this nerd. Pass the turn back. I think if they Molten Rain me without playing a land here, I'm just gonna snap Mana Leak it. Bloodbraid's not the worst now that we got to untap. So we need to dodge this for a small window, but looks like we're out of that window now. I'm gonna go ahead and Mana Leak the Tireless Tracker here. Actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and snap Mana Leak the Tireless Tracker, right? Yeah, that sounds great. This is a Snapcaster Mage can then trade with the Bloodbraid Elf inside of combat if they want to attack. And if they don't want to attack, I can bolt the Bloodbraid Elf next turn. So Kinklerbiter, if you click on the sub icons, it shows you the progression. So the badges proceed through a story of people coming up in Hooglandia. We have it's a shovel into a boot for the hardworking people of Hooglandia, and then there's a wooden sword into a shield, into a horse for knights, into a plot of land. And then at some point we're gonna have a castle, but no one's that close to a 4-year sub yet. Gotta grab that next badge and scratch the itch to throw bits at you. Average Bloom, thank you for the bits. It's not really a 2-for-1, it's a 1-for-1, right? Because the Bloodbraid Elf drew them the Tireless Tracker. Blood Moon, I don't give a shit about that one at this point. Let's just fetch another basic island. Are you trying to cast Molten Rain that you no longer have double red for because you fetched? Good sequencing. More democracy towards Naya landfall. 10 out of 10. I'll apply that other 100 to it as well. We'll be getting back to that one soon, most likely. I mean, our deck is actually a deck that doesn't care about Blood Moon too much, right? But that's because we play it as well. Like, on top of having a bunch of fetch, we have, like, we're part red and we have a bunch of... yeah, I really don't care about that, right? I guess Snap Cryptic here is pretty appealing. It puts a clock on the table. Yeah, I'm a liar. I'm gonna Snap Cryptic. How do we feel about Snap Cryptic counter bounce my Snapcaster Mage? Do I want the Snapcaster Mage to beat people down, or do I want to draw a Snapcaster Mage here? So we're definitely Cryptic Commanding. It's am I going to counter draw or am I going to counter bounce my Snapcaster? I think I'm going to counter bounce my Snapcaster. It's like 6 mana, spend 0 cards, counter your spell. The Snapcaster Mage can, like, opt later even if we really want to get it into play. We can also, like, counter draw their next spell with the second Cryptic Command and then snap counter bounce again. Just, like, get infinite value going. It's like kind of biding our time until we hit a bird. Have you heard about my birds? I said a bird. A bird's a word. I said a bird. Hey, Peter Husson with the brand new Twitch Prime support. Thank you very much and welcome. I really appreciate that. So, part of me wants to just let this resolve, but another part of me doesn't really want to let my health total get that low. My aim is terrible. I think I missed with that last one. Thank you for the bits, Average Bloom. I assume you'd like all of those to get added to Naya Landfall, which I am more than happy to do. Thank you for the support. So, I really don't care about them blowing up a land at this point, but I really don't want to get shocked by that Molten Rain, which is why I countered it. That's not true, Freaky Kiki. These are non-basic mountains, so they still keep their non-basic land subtype under Blood Moon. Yeah, so if they were like just like regular stone raiding me, I really wouldn't care. So we're gonna run back the Snapcaster Cryptic Command, counter your spell, bounce my Snapcaster Mage. Stop dodging, damn it. Ah, into the cup they go. Thank you, Average Bloom. This might possibly be my favorite mode with Cryptic Command. Counter your spell, bounce my Snapcaster Mage. And I think this is a win for us. Although I think I'm going to Mana Leak this, actually. Just to, like, keep the Snapcaster Mage to kill them. And play to kill them. Mana Leak also has, like, diminishing returns at this point in the game. Chef Seth with the 3-month resubscription. Thank you very much and welcome back. I do appreciate that. Quarter of a year. What point do you play a card that wins the game? When I'm good and damn well ready, chat. Will you stop trying to win the game and just enjoy the fact that we're not losing? Can you just truly appreciate what's going on here? I feel like chat doesn't fully appreciate what's currently occurring. Just let me smile and draw fucking magic cards, chat. It's all I want out of life is to smile and draw magic cards. I'm just a simple man. At some point, we're gonna draw a swan, and then we're gonna Skred that swan, and it's gonna be fucking glorious. And everybody who wanted to try and win the game is gonna feel real silly, because I'm gonna get to have drawn 5 cards. Alright, I think I'm gonna snap an opt here. Just, like, dig for my bird. Oh, yeah. There's my pretty bird. Who's a pretty birdie? Who's a pretty birdie? I'll get you next time. Too smart and thin for me today. You're a truly powerful wizard. Thank you, Average Bloom, for the bits. So this is the soft combo in our deck. Skred my swan, draw 5 cards. Just... yeah, and then your Skred draws you into another Skred that draws you more cards. Just like, yeah, just give it to me, baby. And everybody out there just fully appreciate what's going on stream right now. It's like, just need you to appreciate it. Just stop and smell the roses. Of course this deck folds to Tron. Have you watched this stream before? Do we play decks that don't fold to Tron? Alright, hold on. I need to figure out what my hand looks like. Alright, I probably should have done that before I let them enter combat. Do I have enough cards in my hand? Probably. I'm gonna Skred the Bloodbraid Elf. I'm gonna Skred the Bloodbraid Elf. The problem, the card that gets you is Ulamog. You mean the card that they should have like 2 to 3 copies of in their deck? The problem isn't disrupting their threats. The problem is that we don't actually kill the opponent. So like they eventually draw out of your disruption and then kill you with something like Ulamog or an Ugin or a Wormcoil Sticks and then you die. There's only 17 cards left in our deck, so I'm gonna cool it on the drawing cards here for a moment. I'm gonna ditch this moon and this Polluted Delta. Chandra Flamecaller. Nope. At Blue Red Possibility Storm, atrophied. Thank you very much. Happy to apply those there. Yeah, had enough, eh? Had enough, eh? Blood Moon's an easy out. I actually think I want Counterflux in here, not only for countering their land destruction, but you can overload it to counter a Bloodbraid Elf and the thing it cascades into. Clique seems okay here. Spell Snare seems pretty rancid, right? They don't have that many cards that hits. I'm gonna trim. Is Remand good enough? I kind of wouldn't hate these Chandras, but I'm not sure that I have anything that I really want to cut. I already need to cut one more card. No, I don't think I play around Boil. If my opponent wants to boil us, we just concede because they wanted it a lot more than we did. Sneak attack. Get him. Get him. I'm pretty sure I want Anger for cleaning up Bloodbraids and their dorks. Also, like, Anger draws cards with our Swans, which is nice. I think I'm just going to trim this Remand and run it back. Honestly, maybe this Cause Return is fine. It kills Bloodbraid and their mana dorks. Yeah, that's probably reasonable. It also, like, can kill, snipe the Chandra Flamecaller things. Maybe the Remands are fine just because they have some 6-mana spells in their deck. I'm gonna be ambitious and keep this on the draw. I'm sure we're about to get Stone Rained into the ground and regret all of my life decisions, but I think this is a keep. Oh, yeah. And the fetch land is such a good draw here because it means our opponent can't Stone Rain us on two. Because if they go to Stone Rain the fetch land, we just fetch in response. Fast Courser's a little annoying. I guess if we get to 4 Snowlands, we can Skred it, which is nice. I made some changes, Wannabe Beetle. I added 3 Wall of Omens. I might take a peek at the mana base too before we get cards for it. Non-zero chance the mana base needs a couple touches. But I looked at the creature base. The sideboard looked fine. It's just like a good smattering of hate cards. How'd the cube go? We went 2-1. We lost to someone that had a lot of power in their deck. Utopia Sprawl. Looking for some more Snowlands. Obviously, I want some red sources, but like, yeah, perfect. Perfect, perfect, chat. Mana Leak looking dope here. They boarded in Damping Sphere. Okay, sure. I guess. So, I'm actually going to Counterflux this Inferno Titan. Because next turn, I want to go Snow-Covered Island, Skred this Courser, and then I can Mana Leak this Inferno Titan because I don't have another red source. To be fair, they might just, like, not have had enough cards against us. Like, Damping Sphere is probably better than Blood Moon against our deck to, like, set the bar exceedingly low. Skredding Draw Step lets us see their next card, but it also lets them see their next card too. So, like, it's not completely free. Like, it lets them make choices with more information as well. Maybe you could argue the information is a little bit more valuable to us overall, but I don't know. It seems close. The scary thing here is if our opponent has a bolt, they can bolt our swans to recall themselves here. So if a source would deal damage to the swans, prevent it. That source's controller draws cards equal to damage dealt that way. Yep. Enjoy your recall, friend. Enjoy your recall, friend. I'm a giver. Might be in trouble, chat. Might be in trouble. Looking for a bolt here. No, Anger Swans is a combo. Anger only prevents... Swan survives Anger and you draw 3 cards. So Anger Swans is exactly what we wanted to do. Thrun, the last troll. Yep. This is funny. Okay, so they're just using this to draw 2 cards. Smart. If I make 11 counts and tier 3 sub all of them. Probably. Alright, so this draws me 6. And then if we hit Cause Return, we can actually kill this. God, that's good. Perfect. So now, oh, it doesn't actually kill it, right? Because they can regenerate. That's unfortunate. Yeah, they have regen mana up. Gonna hit them for 8 down to 13. And then do I just play the last bird here? Now, I probably want to hold up Stub, right? Yeah, I'm just going to hold up Stub here. Because I get to draw 4 with the Cause Return at their end step. Pretty sure I need to stub that. Yeah, holding up Stub seems reasonable. And, like, holding up Cozilik's Return makes us harder to kill. Like, if we draw another Bolt or a Snapcaster here, we kill them. Perfect. This deck is sweet. These birds are really powerful when they get going. Like, our opponent drew 6 cards off of our swans, and we still just ended up bodying them. I think the sideboard's not built well for playing against humans, but the deck's doing something objectively powerful. While we're waiting for the 4th match of this league to pop, I'd just like to thank everyone for hanging out here today. My name is Jeff Hoagland. I'm a full-time TCG player and content producer here on Twitch. I stream Magic lots of hours a week. This deck, like many of the decks that I play on stream, is a viewer-submitted deck list. If you're interested in learning about how I could play one of your decks on stream, check out bit.ly/HoogleSellout. If you're interested in seeing some of the awesome deck lists that people have submitted that are going to be coming up on stream, check out bit.ly/DonationQ. If you're enjoying my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. My subscribers are the people that keep me here streaming full-time. You can also support myself by checking out some of my wonderful sponsors. MTGOtraders.com would love to buy and sell some Magic Online cards with you. And if you use code Hoagland PayPal at checkout with them, you'll save 8% on your singles orders there. CoolStuffInc.com buys and sells a lot of cool stuff, including TCG singles. Using promo code Jeff5, you can save 5% on Magic, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh cards with them. inkedgaming.com would love to help you customize your gaming experience. Using code Jeff12, you can save 12% on custom playmats, mousepads, binders, and bags there. And of course, I'd like to welcome everyone to Hoaglandia. Please talk to your friendly neighborhood moderator about receiving your complimentary timeout. Good evening, wife. Well, I thought we were going to have a match. But, oh, did we get it? Did it pop? Sweet. All right, we're 2-1 with Skred Swan so far. We lost match 1 to humans. This deck does not have a well-designed sideboard for humans. This hand is awkward. I think I'm going to keep it. So it's a... Maybe I'm supposed to just mulligan. So, like, I want to fetch Steam Vents so I have both my colors with my only lands. But fetching Steam Vents isn't a snow land for these Skreds. I have four looks at a land, right? I have a draw step, I have 2 looks with up, I have another draw step. So we have a lot of shots to hit a land here, for sure. The red-black burn deck that we played felt really pretty powerful. Yeah, this hand is actually going to be pretty good in this matchup if we run our lands off here. They're likely playing mono white Texas or white green or white Eldrazi, something along those lines. Leonin Arbiters and Thalias and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and fetch a Steam Vents here so I can work towards this Anger of the Gods. Get 2 more shots at a land here. I think I'm supposed to keep that. I'm new to this bit thing. I can't watch ad for bits. Any tips? It depends on where you live. And it goes in and goes out Black Knight. So I know Christy can do it sometimes and can't do it other times. I've never actually watched ads for bits myself. Jace the Mind Sculptor. That's adorable. You don't put bad cards in my deck, opponent. Silly you. Dang. Alright, I'm gonna fetch a snow-covered mountain here and pass the turn, I think. Probably just Skred this Revoker. There is actually 0 things in our main deck they could name with that, even if they were ghosting, right? Yeah, actual 0. We have Chandra in the sideboard, which will actually probably come in this matchup, but we don't really have things that they hit. I think I just let this happen. Because, like, if my opponent has Leonin Arbiter and they go, like, Leonin Arbiter Ghost Quarter me after I Skred this, I'm going to be really sad. Hope you're enjoying the stream, Piff Cry. Hope you're having a good Saturday wherever you're at. And by that I mean I hope your computer breaks. Alright, we can't cast our blue cards. JK, I'm a goddamn professional. I'm gonna brush my shoulder off here real quick. I'm gonna brush brush my shoulder off here real quick. I'm gonna take a motherfucking screenshot of this one. I'm gonna take a screenshot right here. Really glad Blood Moon can punish my opponent's greedy one color mana base. Really glad. Happy to be here, punishing that greedy mono white mana base. Put a stamp on it. Just gonna snap Skred this and then just start attacking them for 2 while they can't play Magic. That's really weird, chat. Do you think my opponent's just, like, really unlucky and hasn't drawn any spells? They have 4 cards in their hand. Why aren't they playing any spells? Anybody know? I could have mana leaked that, huh? I can still mana leak it? Let's do that. Island. Ew. God, we're so fucking good at this. Skred my bitch. Yeah, Skred him. Draw some cards. His deck is sweet. Chat. Can we talk about decks that are great? More bits because you're a goddamn professional and decided I needed that next badge. Thank you, Average Bloom. Let me know if you want, do we want all those bits to bump Naya Landfall up? That'll probably put Naya Landfall into tomorrow's decks. Tomorrow or Monday. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. I don't know if this deck is good, but it's definitely fucking sweet. Is the opponent's name in chat? Curious Curmudgeon with the brand new Twitch Prime support. Thank you very much and welcome. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting mine this month. That's not fair. That's going to trade with our Snapcaster Mage. I mean, we'd have buried them in cards if they wouldn't have done that. I'm gonna snap Opt here, I think. Trying to find another Swan so we can draw some more cards here. This is another matchup where I kind of wish we had more removal on the sideboard. I guess I'll take another Snapcaster Mage. It's a clock. We're really bad at drawing Swans. We keep, like, only having 1 Swans in the top half of our deck. No longer allowed to order pizza for us. Why is that, Nivik? Alright, so they're at a virtual 3 with Bolt Snap Bolt here. Whoa. Don't trash talk my Spell Snares, bro. He just countered a Grizzly Bear. Don't trash talk my Spell Snares. They got Grizzly Bears to counter. Alright, so we're gonna cut. I think we cut the Stubborn Denials against non-bolt decks too, right? Maybe trim Mana Leak here. Probably okay. Spellskite seems fine to protect our birds from their There's stuff. I think Blood Moon is supposed to come out here. I think the fact that it did a good amount of work there just was like good beats and shouldn't have happened. I think turning off their Ghost Quarters doesn't really matter. We have 11 basics in our deck. They have Cat and Thalia, which is like, okay, maybe Snare is better than Remand. I could see Remand being a little bit medium. So I disagree with your assessment, Rog, that it's great because they don't have fetches for basics. Because they don't have fetches for basics, that means they have a lot of basic lands in their deck on average. So what Blood Moon means is Blood Moon's high variance in this matchup. Some games it's going to lock them off of casting spells altogether, and other games it's not going to do anything at all. Violin Athena with the brand new Twitch Prime support. Thank you very much and welcome. I appreciate it. He was supposed to order 2 pizzas and 1 order of cheesy bread. He accidentally ordered 3 pizzas and 10 orders of cheesy bread. That's funny. If we board out Blood Moon, we can't get the Twitter rub-ins. That's true. That's true. And I'm going to do this. All right, chat. All right, chat. I'm gonna teach you a very valuable lesson here. So there's social media is very difficult to navigate. I put all of them towards Naya Landfall. I enjoy the deck and Renegade Ralliers quietly. It really is. So people like this, their mana base is greedy at sacrificing mono colors for more utility then. So there's this arrow on Twitter right here. And you can click this button right here and I will never have to hear something from someone that wants to post things this obnoxious ever again. There's no amount of logic and reasoning that's going to allow me to reach that person. So you just shouldn't interact with them. Shouldn't interact with them. You'll be happier for it. This hand doesn't have, I mean, they're probably in chat. I hope they saw that. Greedy mono-colored mana bases, yep. And see that right there? That was probably that person that they decided to come in here and call names. Those types of people are not worth interacting with. They're just going to make you frustrated, and life's too short to be frustrated at random dicks on the internet. So just take those dicks and go like this and say, fuck off, I have better things to do with my time. You will be a much, much happier person if you tell more people to go off in a corner and leave you alone. Life is too short. There is always another idiot somewhere else on the internet that wants you to waste your time dealing with them, and they're not worth your time to deal with. There's always another person. There's always another person, and like there are some people who are just like caught in the middle, and you're going to be able to change their minds on things by having reasonable discourse, but those people are few and far between, especially in the internet era. Oh my god, I let them untap with the Ganjo Castle. But they didn't activate their Ganjo Castle. They must have a Leonin Arbiter here. Revoker, interesting. Blood Moon would have stopped this. Yeah, I like the core of this deck a lot. I think I think the lack of braids in the 75 is kind of silly, though. I think a braid is a really fantastic card in Modern right now, and if you don't have access to black mana, but you have access to red mana, you should have some of them in your 75. So that is definitely one of the cards. Izzet Snapcaster, a card we don't have here. This is another card. Do you know if you would get a notification? Yeah. Yep, anyone that I don't have muted, I get a tag I get a notification when they tag me in a post on Twitter. What does a braid even do on this board? So it's not just this board explicitly that makes a braid good. It's just, in general, I think a braid is a good card in Modern. So this specific board didn't make me talk about a braid. I was just kind of talking about the deck in general. Like, I would kind of just like more removal in the deck. I don't actually think a braid is that good on this board. I think it's just like another random removal spell, which is like why a braid is like reasonable in general. All right, that's the last of my ammo. I think next time I'll ask Curly Dactyl to pin you down so I can actually hit you. Thank you, Average Bloom. All right, so the Clique lets us spot check for a path there, so we know this Swans gets to come into play and just do some work now. Nice, Nivik. Yeah, the fact that a braid is a 2-mana instant speed red spell that lets you deal with Hollowed One is really clean as well. Yep. Swans can't jump. That's not how Swans work. If I block their resto with the Swan, their resto will die and they'll draw 3 cards because that's how Swans works. So they drew the path, which is a little unfortunate, but not the end of the world. I'm going to grab another red source here. I'm going to trade the Clique with the Revoker at this point, and then next turn play a Swan plus Skred my Swan. Oh, they don't want to trade. Okay, deal. Ooh, that's unfortunate. I guess I'll force them to pop that, huh? Jonathan Gorman, thank you for the brand new Twitch Prime. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me employed here. So I assume they're gonna sack this to prevent my Skred damage. Yep. Yeah, there's a good chance this is an older list. Oh wait, this doesn't work because there's 2 replacement effects. Yeah, this doesn't work. So this is a good lesson in the Magic rules. So because I control the Swans and there's 2 replacement effects being applied to the Swans, I choose which replacement effect applies. So opponent just learned a valuable lesson in how Magic the Gathering works. So if multiple replacement effects would be applied to the same thing, the controller of the thing those replacement effects are being applied to chooses the one that gets to apply. Odds of having gotten that right in paper, I probably would have messed it up. The most common interaction there, the most common interaction with replacement effects like that is with Kalitas and Anger of the Gods. If you have... Opponent asking in chat if that was Magic as intended or a Moto feature. Yeah. I told them that was Magic as intended. 2x replacement effect. Owner of the card chooses how they apply. So I think that's short and sweet and to the point, and hopefully they get that. So going back to the comment earlier, the most common instance of double replacement effects like that come up in Modern pretty consistently is that people Anger of the Gods and Kalitas. If you have Kalitas out in Jund and you anger your opponent, you don't get any zombies if your opponent knows how magic works. Yes, you're replacing damage with the prevention shield. I'm gonna go ahead and opt here, looking for more damage spells. Spellskite is great here because we know my opponent has a Flicker Wisp, so Spellskite is gonna get to blank the Flicker Wisp in their hand, which is awesome. We do have to eat 3 from this Restoration Angel attack here again because I'm not blocking with my bird. So, okay, what are we doing here? So we're, oh, are they gonna flicker their Revoker maybe? They're flicking my Swans. All right, so I'm gonna snap Skred my Swan in response. Hit me with the draw 6. Yep, it's good. Good, clean draw 6 living, chat. This is pretty unlucky. We have to discard some cards. Just the unluckiest. I have too many cards in my hand. Can't hold all of them. Get my trade on here. I'm gonna go to 6. I'm gonna go ahead and anger the board next turn. Am I gonna anger or am I just gonna Chandra? I'm actually gonna Chandra. Actually, I could Chandra into anger. Yeah, I can Chandra into anger into Bolt the Resto. No, because I'm going to attack with Swans. I'd rather hit them for 4. All right, sweet. We're 3-1. So, we often talk about deck building on these streams and things you want to be think about when you're making changes to decks. And I really like the addition of Skred to the blue-red kind of control shell, because Skred solves a problem that this archetype has, which is often this archetype has a very hard time dealing with things that have more than 3 toughness. So the fact that Skred in the mid to late game allows you to kill 4 toughness and 5 toughness, even eventually 6 and 7 toughness things. What do you think of playing a 25th land in the Naya Landfall deck? Yeah, a Ghost Quarter could be okay. Honestly, I might board the Ghost Quarter because I don't think you want that in every matchup. I think if I went up to a 25th land in the main deck, I'd probably make it another Horizon Canopy, so that way when you are flooding, you can draw with it. Maybe I'll try that for the next VOD. Average Bloom. I'll make a note on that. GQ in the board and a second Canopy in the main. Like I mentioned a couple times in this league, I do think the sideboard in this deck is a little bit misaligned for how popular Hallowed One and Humans are currently, but the core idea of this deck is really neat. It's nice to see it kind of pulling it all together. You had Shoal in your version, like Disrupting Shoal. I guess that's interesting, because you could basically like force 1 cost removal and you're drawing lots of cards. Playing a lot of Angel Cord. I've seen some months ago in small tournaments. I really love the deck, and I'm going to play with it at a 400-person tournament. Do you think the deck is well-performing or real varies? I'm not a big fan of creature combo decks in the current modern format. I think creature combo decks like Angel Cord are a little bit clunky in terms of their general game plan, and their interaction overall is a little bit slow for the format as a whole. Looks like Grixis Shadow here. This is a matchup where we're probably going to struggle. This is a matchup where they put large creatures into play very quickly, and we don't have any engineered explosives or roasts or anything like that. Anything like that to deal with their larger threats. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to people, Messi. Like, I love creature combo decks, but they're just not well positioned in the way Modern is. Modern is a format that is about brutal efficiency. Maybe I should have shocked this in. Maybe I should have shocked this in there. The post soft stub Land of Shame. Yeah, probably not shocking that in was wrong. Wasn't thinking about soft stub. I'm so used to stub being a hard counter. Do Swans block? I guess they do technically, right? They get to Teamer Battle Rage over you at some point, but you could technically block it, but they're probably going to draw removal with drawing 12 cards, though. Yeah, the double Street Wraith starts are, like, very good out of the Hallowed One deck, right? They allow them to be super aggressive. Yeah, we really just don't have... We really just don't have any tools for this matchup. I guess we'll go post-board and we'll board in our Blood Moons and try and cheese them that way. But I really just feel like we're kind of... I think if you wanted to prioritize this matchup, you'd want something like Engineered Explosives and Roast. And honestly, Roast and Abrade are the two cards I would probably add to the sideboard of this deck to give you some more tools against humans. These might be okay. These are bad. Remands are bad. Spell Snare's pretty mediocre, right? It, like, tags Snapcaster Mage, but it doesn't tag most other cards they have other than that. I guess it tags Battle Rage, too. Maybe this is actually fine. Dispel seems okay. Mana Leak seems a little medium. Echoing Truth actually seems okay. Sending their Delph threats back could be valuable. Okay, let's try this. I feel like, I guess Chandra Tortured Defiance is kind of interesting too. She can burn them out when they get low alongside Lightning Bolts. In my experience, Relic's kind of medium in these matchups. Relic's a card where it's very slow to the point where, along with Thought Scours, it really doesn't stop their Delph threats. I think Skite's too narrow. I'm going to trim these because they're kind of mediocre. Let's do this. Awesome, Chimera. Glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, and so honestly, Maester, the fact that Swans lets you turn those bolts and Skreds into draw spells is like a really big deal as well, right? Because like these interactive decks often suffer from what we like to refer to as wrong half problem. So the fact that you can like make those cards modal is a big deal. Crypt is interesting. Crypt lets you enable Revolt and pump those up. That could possibly be okay if you were really expecting a lot of graveyard-based decks, but I just don't think there's a lot of graveyard-based decks in Modern right now, Average Bloom. I think if you explicitly wanted to beat Dredge with the deck, the Tormod's Crypt is probably the way to go about beating Dredge. But I don't think there's enough Dredge online that I would board in Tormod's Crypt. Like, I don't think I would board in Tormod's Crypt in the Landfall deck against, like, Hollowed One, for instance, because that card often comes up pretty short in that matchup, in my experience. So, I think if, like, your local metagame has a lot of Dredge or another specific, like, Fringe Graveyard deck that you wanted to beat, Tormod Script would be the card that I would include, but I wouldn't play Tormod Script, like, on Magic Online, for instance, based on what I'm used to playing against here. Do I want to just fetch 2 Steam Vents here? I think so. Just, like, get these out of my deck. They make any Skreds I draw marginally worse, potentially. Like, there might be an argument for, like, holding the second fetch. All right. See if this can steal a game or not. We cleverly left the Blood Moon on top of our deck so they couldn't Inquisition it. What's going on, Angel Havoc? Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to be on super long tonight, but this is the last match of this league, and then we're going to play at least one more. Average. Sounds good. I know that you are a Linux guy. Have you ever played with it on the Raspberry Pi? Yeah, I've done some Raspberry Pi stuff in the past. In my experience, the Raspberry Pi hardware tends to be a little bit too slow for doing anything very practical on it. So I'm not a huge fan of the device in general. I think I'm actually just going to add mana with my Chandra here because I really don't want to help them cast Death Shadow this game. I think I just want to ult Chandra or just play her and downtick on my Swans. Back for more memes. BCS with the 2-month resubscription. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Welcome. Big fishing. Spin the G's. We doing big fishing. So I'm going to go ahead and use Chandra to draw 4 here with my bird. Have you heard about my bird? I said a bird. Bird's a word. I said a bird. Maybe I was supposed to play my snow-covered island so I could stub their bolts, but their deck generally doesn't play a ton of bolts. And I don't think I want to block here. I think I just want to let them kill the Chandra because I don't want them to draw 5. Swans of Bryn Argoll. Modern staple. Swans of Bryn Argoll. Need some more birds. Need some more birds, chat. I need more birds. More birds. Have you heard about my birds? Birds. Birds. Let's get them. All right, I think we're ready to turn the corner here, chat. We get to attack them to 13 here, which means they can't play Death Shadow next turn, which is a good number to put them to. And then the next turn we can go like double crack you. What if we didn't do that? What if we said, no, bad opponent, no divination for you, bad opponent. I actually didn't sleep for that long. I slept for about, I slept an average amount. I slept like 5.5, 6 hours. I didn't want to throw my entire sleep schedule out of whack. So I slept long enough to feel like I was no longer dying, and then I'm going to try to go to bed at like midnight or so tonight for a reasonable time to go to bed. I think this deck is actually okay. I think if you cleaned up the sideboard so you had better tools against hollowed wanted humans, it's probably pretty reasonable. I'm actually going to go ahead and block here now because they already had their basic island anyways. Just like more power to you. Enjoy. I want to be degenerate. Help me. I would wait until July 2nd to make that decision just to confirm that they're not going to ban anything that you care about or unban something that you might like better. My fiance thought I caught her cold. My guesstimation would be that adding Seismic Assault to this deck is probably an unnecessary and cute addition. One of the things I like about this build is that it's playing just like mostly good cards in general. You Surgical, my Lightning Bolt Steel, I guess. Guess they just don't want to get burned out. They probably want to play a Death Shadow this turn as well. So, like we do after every deck, we'll do a quick wrap-up segment here because I think I have good feedback on things I would change in this specific configuration to potentially make it better. Probably lose our Stubborn Denial here. I guess we could lose our Snapcaster too. Yeah, that makes sense. They don't get to play another threat out now though, right? That seems pretty good for us. Oh. Don't mind if it does. Don't mind if it does, opponent. What if we drew 5 more cards? Would it be, how would you feel about me drawing 5 more cards? Would that be okay with you? Would that be okay with that? Oh, you didn't want me to draw 5, but opponent, I wanted to draw 5 more cards. In general, I do not accept deck lists that are budget for the sake of being budget. If you have a deck that is built optimally but happens to be cheap, that's perfectly fine usually, but my goal is to play optimal decks that are interesting, not decks that are cheap and have budget restrictions. This is Spyware with the brand new tier 1 sub. Thankfully, I'm running Linux, so I'm mostly immune to spyware. So thank you for the support. I appreciate that. Welcome. And Murph Knees with the brand new Twitch Prime support. No, there's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting my stuff this month with that. Welcome. What's going on, Resmaz? You just can't in good conscience keep 1 land cantrip against the deck full of discard spells. It's going to take your opt and make you very sad. Look, sometimes I'm very busy in a day and some stinkers make it through. I try my best to accept optimal decks. The Temple Garden Burn deck was sent to me in the middle of a 24-hour stream. I take no responsibilities for what happened. No, you shut your mouth, McCullough. You shut your mouth. The options are draw a bunch of magic cards or don't draw a bunch of magic cards. The people who choose not to draw a bunch of magic cards, you're wrong. And I'll fight anyone who tells me otherwise. You can whisper me deck lists on Twitch, or you can direct message me on Twitter. All right, no discard spells is great for us. So this is interesting. Part of me kind of wants to take this Echoing Truth, but another part of me looks at their lands here and goes, they they could have played Tasigur if they had it. So my mind knows maybe they could have Angler, but I think I'm going to err on the side of hopefully they don't have a Delve threat, and I'm going to bottom this Echoing Truth. Like, obviously, they could play Angler next turn, and I'm going to be a little bit sad, but I think it's okay to bottom that since they didn't have the Tasigur. No, I think cards like Faithless Looting and Goblin Lore are pretty secure. I think if they were going to get rid of anything out of Hollow One, it would probably be Burning Inquiry. I think Burning Inquiry is a card that creates pretty obnoxious games of Magic that aren't very interesting and take decisions away from the players. I guess I should have played the Flooded Strand this turn, huh? So I could fetch Steam Vents tapped. Bitter Blossom. Spell Pierce. See if we do get soft stubbed here. We do get soft stubbed here. Yep, the opponent draws cards. Your opponent's creatures are sources. So I think now that I drew another way to fetch another snow-covered mountain, I just don't bother with fetching Steam Vents. For the record, I don't think anything from Hollowed One should be banned if they are only banning things based on a power level perspective. I think from a power level perspective, everything the Hollowed One deck is doing is reasonable and fine in Modern as a format. What I do think, however, is that if they wanted to ban something from Hollowed One in terms of a quality gameplay perspective, I think Hollowed One creates a lot of what I would consider genuinely bad games of Magic that are uninteresting, where one player doesn't get to make any meaningful decisions, or the only meaningful decision they make gets invalidated by a lucky Burning Inquiry. I think that would be a fine reason to ban something from Hollowed One. But again, it all basically comes down to what is their goal with the ban list and what is their goal with sculpting the format. Stoneforge Mystic and Green Sun Zenith are both absurdly safe unbans into Modern. There are a bunch of cards I think you could unban into Modern, but those two cards especially I think are very, very safe to reintroduce to the format. Maybe. I don't know. I think I'm just slamming my bird though for sure. If Terminate, yep. And I think when a lot of people talk about banning cards in Modern or Magic in general, the only thing they think, you should read my articles here. There's an article here. It's called, I think I called it What Jason Bloodbraid Did to Modern. It talks about all of the cards that I think are probably safe unbans in Modern, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. All right, so the fact that we lost this Grixis Shadow matchup really doesn't surprise me. I think this deck, again, doesn't really have good tools in its current 75 for competing with this deck. Honestly, I think even with updates, I wouldn't be surprised if the Grixis Shadow matchup is pretty hard for this deck. Straight blue-red just, like, lacks tools to deal with a lot of large threats like this, but you can make it a little bit better than what this deck has. So things I would change about this deck list. I think Spell Snare is a card that's a little bit medium right now. I also think that this deck probably has a little bit too much counter magic in general right now. What would I change? So I would probably turn these Remands and maybe these Spell Snares and possibly Mana Links into more spot removal. I think a Braid's a card that's very main deckable right now. I would consider 1 to 2 copies of a Braid in the main. I think you can consider a copy of cards. I probably wouldn't main deck a Roast. You could main deck cards like Chandra, though, and stuff like that. You just want more cards that allow you to impact the board. Modern's very much a format about getting on the board and impacting the board every single turn, so that way you don't fall behind. I think I would want to make sure, however the sideboard was constructed in this deck, if I were to play it again, that I would have enough pieces of removal that I could bring in out of the sideboard, like Harvest Pyre or Roast, in order to have enough cards to cut all of my counter magic against cards, against decks like Humans. Again, so that would be my big suggestion, is I would want to be able to cut all these Mana Leaks and these Stubborn Denials And probably the Cryptic Commands too against humans, and just bring in like roasts and abrades and stuff like that. Harvest Pyre main board could even be reasonable. It's like another pseudo piece of removal that can also draw a lot of cards with Swans. Yeah, I agree. So that's why I didn't recommend cutting Stubborn Denial, but like Mana Leak and Remand and Spell Snare, like those cards aren't stopping your opponent's cards from bolting your Swans. So I think the Stubborn Denials are good from keeping your opponent from drawing cards with your Swans, but I don't think these 2-mana counterspells are really good at accomplishing that goal. Logic Knot like does it to a degree, but it's really not that consistent at doing it. All right.